Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Create, a podcast by the University of Montana College of Business, and now coming to you in webinar format as well. We are so excited to welcome not one, not two, but three amazing guests on today's episode: Joe Whittinghill, Professor Jason Triche, and Bob Boyce. We're talking about Leading Out West, an annual conference that happens right here in Missoula. The two-day workshop is a leadership and networking building intensive program for a small cohort of LGBTQIA college students. Industry leaders and business professionals help instruct and facilitate this event. We'll have detailed show notes and links in today's episode. Let's meet our three guests, starting with Bob Boyce. As of January 2017, the company Bob founded, Blue Horizon Hospitality Group, operated 35 restaurants in 10 cities throughout China, had revenue of $75 million per annum, and employed nearly 2,000 team members countrywide. In February of 2017, Bob completed the final sale of his shares in the business to a European restaurant group and completely exited from the business. He is one of the founding members of the Leading Out West team. He is currently the chair of the YPO LGBTQIA+ network. You'll also meet Joe Whittinghill. Joe is a corporate vice president at Microsoft who leads people strategy, global talent management, culture and organization development, and global learning and development for the company. He is responsible for defining, shaping, and empowering the future of work and the workforce of the future. Joe is also one of the founding members of the Leading Out West team and serves on numerous nonprofit and corporate boards inside and outside the company with a focus on the future of work, LGBTQIA+ advocacy, sustainability, and neuroscience. He is a regular guest lecturer at universities on the topic of M&A, culture and leadership, strategy, and organization development. And last but certainly not least, we'll meet Dr. Jason Triche. If you've listened to previous episodes of Create, you'll recognize the name from previous guests singing his praise. Jason is a professor right here at the University of Montana College of Business. His goal as a teacher is to prepare his students to be successful professionals. This includes adapting in any situation, working in teams, being a self-starter, and learning business acumen while allowing technology to help, not hurt. Over the past several years, he taught Introduction to Operations Management, Introduction to Information Systems, Data Analytics, and Project Management. Jason enjoys playing golf, hiking, playing the clarinet, watching football, and traveling. He is also trying to learn to downhill ski, but it is coming along very slowly. Jason has been critical in organizing and orchestrating this event. If you're interested in applying, chances are you'll be talking with him throughout the process. Without further ado, please enjoy this episode. Well, let's jump right in. So I'm here with Jason, Bob, and Joe. Guys, welcome. Thank you for joining us. What I wanted to do first was just quickly kind of go around, and if you could briefly introduce yourself and talk about sort of where the idea for Leading Out West originated. And Joe, why don't you start us off?
Okay, great. So hi, Joe Whittinghill, one of the co-founders of Leading Out West with Bob. And literally this came about over a dinner conversation Bob and I were having around when we were growing up. There weren't a lot of role models for people who were in the LGBTQIA community or queer community, and that it would have been super helpful to us as we were either growing up or early in our careers if we would have had some people that we could meet with and talk to, or at least role model after in terms of being, leaders in the community. And so from that single conversation, we are where we are today, which is looking forward to the second annual Leading Out West program.
That's great. That's great. Bob, care to introduce yourself and sort of build on Joe's response there about sort of what Leading Out West is all about?
Bob Boyce. I'm a native Montanan, but spent a lot of my career overseas. When Joe and I talked about this program, we really wanted it to focus in on leadership for folks in the community, particularly folks who are from rural parts of the U.S. Since we're from Montana, we feel really strongly about reaching folks in Montana and the Mountain West region who maybe don't have access to the type of education and leadership learning that are available in bigger cities. So we're really targeting the program for folks who come from rural communities.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I know we've reached out to a lot of universities in the Rocky Mountain West, and there's been a lot of exciting interest this year. And Jason, that maybe brings up the inaugural year. Last year was the first year. I know that you did a lot of the sort of boots on the ground recruiting students right here in Missoula, getting some folks to attend. For folks who are watching this video, they might be at other universities. They might be thinking, okay, yeah, I can think of a couple students who this sounds like it'd be a really great fit for. What did you find effective to, either when they were at the event or like when a student responds and says, well, what can I expect at this event? Well, how would you answer that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So last year, as you said, was our first event. We had eight students who attended, and it's really open for any undergraduate, graduate, or recent graduate from any university in the rural Mountain West, or just we'll say the Mountain West. And so what to expect for that program is just a 2 or 3 day kind of intensive relationship building, kind of understanding your strengths, maybe figuring out where your areas of weakness are, and then using those to try to build a better leadership quality, just being authentic to yourself and how to use those powers to become a good leader. And this is not just working in a business. Although the College of Business is one of the sponsors here, and I'm a professor in the College of Business, it really has nothing to do with the business school. We're looking for anybody who wants to be a leader or learn how to be a leader about being their authentic self. And so that's what this program's about.
I think, just to riff off that, Jason, one of the things I found when I finally started coming out in my career, and I came out reasonably early. Once I started a business, and I came out right after starting that business. And one of the reasons I started the business is because I was really tired of hiding and masking, part of who I was. And what I found was that, what I vowed to myself is in starting my own business, I was going to be authentic and honest with myself and with the people around me. And the value of showing up to work or showing up to my organization or any organization and being able to represent myself really as who I am, to be able to talk about my partner, to be able to talk about my friends, my family in an open and authentic way. It was just has been incredibly valuable in my life, and has made me a way more productive individual.
Awesome. Let's talk about the language around Leading Out West. We're sort of calling it a workshop, conference. I think some students, when they hear conference, might think, okay, I'm going to sit in a chair and I'm going to listen to an expert maybe talk to me about X, Y, and Z. Is that the experience that a student can expect, or can you all sort of touch on, maybe we'll start with Joe, sort of what an attendee might expect in terms of is there a curriculum? Is it we're going to have a 4-hour session followed by some lunch? What can I expect if I'm coming in from the University of Idaho or something like that?
Yeah, you bet. So first and foremost, it's very interactive because none of us like to sit there in a chair and just be talked at. And so it's definitely not that. There's even some pre-work we ask the students to do, because remember, this is both about, 1, understanding yourself, 2, about learning how you can be a more effective leader and including, becoming more courageous as a leader. Number 3, we talked about, we do some assessments like strength finders, which is really helpful. And then we work together in an interactive way to process that. But there's also this professional development piece we do, which is helping students with their resumes, getting their LinkedIn page updated. And so it pops. And then maybe the most important part is we do, an exercise around just our life stories, and including Bob and I, we all share our life stories. And so Lots of different things. Part of this session is outside, part of it's in the classroom. And then we also have a really fun thing. Maybe we'll spill the beans. We actually also do a reception with community members. And right before that, we talk about how to work a room. And so we teach networking skills at a, say, cocktail party or business event. And then we have the students get to go practice on real life community members. And it was really a blast last year. And so lots of different things we do. And it's all predicated on this belief that we want the folks that come through this program not only to build their leadership skills and their business skills, but they build a community of the other participants. And that's what we heard from who we're now calling the alumni. We got them all together and said, how are things going? What should we do next year? And they said, it's the connections we made that have been just as powerful as everything we learned in the program.
And I think along those lines, you know, the real focus for this program is to help participants really view their place in the community, in the LGBTQ community, as a place of strength, and find strength in the community and in the network, rather than a place of shame or something else. So we really want people, and I say this often because it's important to, I think, what we want people to walk away with is we really want people to focus on building their own table and inviting others to sit at it, rather than asking to sit at another person's table. And that is really core to the program.
Yeah, that resonates. It's the network in the, you called it, Jason, I think the Mountain West, the rural West. It is sort of incredible when you meet someone from Billings or South Dakota, and it does feel like they might know somebody from Missoula, or you might know somebody from South Dakota, and there's often some overlap which you don't necessarily see maybe on the East Coast or in some larger cities. Really neat. And Bob, you mentioned, you know, individual and, you know, your own table. I think a question we might get from different universities that say, well, we have a 12-passenger van and we might bring a group. It does sound like there is an individual component to this where, yes, you might show up as a group, but you're going to be working on your personal brand. You're going to be working on your personal leadership skills. And yes, it's interactive, and there's I'm sure there's some different types of group work, but am I understanding it right that you can show up with a group, but you're going to get a lot of individual value and personal value as well from this?
Yeah, I would say this is deeply personal. So it's the group work that we do, you know, will be focused on getting the most out of each other, really. But I think participants will walk away with a really strong sense of having done a lot of self-work.
Great.
You know, and I might just chime in on that. And then the other thing is it's super safe. I mean, the big thing is you share what you want to share. You don't have to share. You don't have to participate in things you don't want to participate in. And the beauty of last year too, you know, one of the participants was in from Princeton University. And so we've had a diversity, and given the signups we're seeing now, we may have a great group of different states of people coming. So it's exciting for that too. But the whole point is that we also have people you'll hear from, like for those in Montana know Denise Juneau, who was an elected official in the state of Montana, was a superintendent of schools in Seattle. And Denise talks about her story of being a Native American female and also a member of the community and what that has been like. And so it's an example of where we try to do a lot of different things. It moves fast. The one thing the students said is maybe we could not have as much stuff to do because it really was a lot of work. But they said in the end, we totally understand why we did everything we did. So it's interactive, it's fun, and I would just reassert it's a safe environment for people.
Yeah, you know, I think the other thing aspect of this is, you know, we're neither Joe or I are activists. We're not. This is not a conversation about activism or about fighting for our rights or anything like that. you could a participant can certainly apply what they're going to learn through the program into activism or all aspects of their lives. But this is really not about. We're really talking about how to build up self rather than any sort of activist sort of statement, because that's just not really. We don't want to divert attention from the work that we're going to be doing.
Great. Leadership has come up a lot. I think a common interview question that I hear from time to time is, when you're on a team, what position do you like to take? And some people right away, oh, I'm the leader of that team, and others, they're much more comfortable in that. I'm the workhorse. I don't, I can follow, and I can, give me a direction, I'll go with it. But maybe they're less comfortable in that leadership role. As for someone that might be sitting here listening, thinking, well, leadership, that sounds great. That might not be something that, I'm comfortable with just yet. Is this a good fit for them? I'm guessing yes, but can you talk to that a little bit?
I think when a person has a deeper understanding of their own abilities, it just makes them a more effective team participant and as well as team leader. So it really is about how to identify within oneself, the strengths they have. And so while we really are focused on leadership, leadership comes in many different frameworks. And so that's really what we want to bring out for people, is that, maybe they're someone who's not completely comfortable taking on a big leadership role, could take a smaller leadership role, or just understand themselves better within the team that they're in.
Great.
Yeah, just building off what Bob said, because leadership shows up in many different ways. It doesn't mean that you are necessarily the captain of the team or the first chair violin or the person who's the lead role in the play. It can also mean it takes everybody. I believe, firmly, everyone can be a leader. And that's really who showed up at the program last year, were people who, they may not necessarily be the heads of some of the student groups. So we had that too. But they also were people who wanted to be leaders, but maybe be a part of the team and showing leadership in that way. And we talked through some of that as well, of just different ways you can lead without necessarily always having to be the person out front. And by the way, we should also note, there was one person in there that basically was just coming out and said, I cannot believe I'm actually here, but this is part of my process. So I wanted to come and learn how I could be a member of this community, but also build my leadership skills. And by the way, everyone, I'm gay. And so we got to process that in the room, which was really great. And that person added a ton of value, to the program. And as a great example, as we were leaving, they said, look, this causes me to want to get more involved and to do a little bit what Bob and I are just trying to do is be out there and for people to know. And just to say, we're all in this together. Let's go make the world as best a place as we possibly can.
And we also had advocate. We had an advocate in last year's program, and advocates are always welcome. Welcome and encouraged. So, yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's a powerful message. That's great. So logistics. So someone listening to this says, yes, this sounds amazing. I'm in, central Wyoming. I want to bring a van up there. How does this work? Jason, can you talk a little bit about how does this actually work to get a crew up there? Are we using student funds? Are there scholarships available? Talk to us about sort of, yes, we're in, now what?
Yeah, perfect. So the first thing we ask is just to fill out an application. The application is on our Leading Out West site, which is hosted at the College of Business at University of Montana. And so once we get
link to that for you.
Yeah, we'll put the link in. And so just fill out the application. It's not a long application, but there's a statement in there that you have to write just to make sure that we're on the same page of what you want out of the program and what we can offer. The application shouldn't take very long. Please fill that out. The application priority deadline is March 1st, which is coming up fairly soon. We will have a rolling application deadline after that, but it's a limited number of seats. We're trying to cap it off at 15, 16 people, just so we can have an intimate event and networking, and we can kind of control those numbers. So first thing is to get the application in. And we'll notify you if you get accepted, and you can start making plans for the weekend of April 14th, 15th, and 16th. So let's say you come and you want to drive in. The whole project, or the whole workshop, or we're going to call it, is paid for. Just to be clear, it's not paid for with any state money. It's paid for from donors, and so it's all coming through donors, not the state or anything with the University of Montana, although they are helping facilitate classrooms and their help. And so once you get here, we'll work out. If you're coming from out of town, we'll pair you up, or we'll ask about rooming situations, and we'll put you at a hotel. And then if you're in Missoula or in the area, you'll just stay home. But all the meals are paid for. The networking events paid for. So really, if you get to Missoula, once you're here, then everything will be covered. Paid for by sponsors.
Incredible. Yeah, that's awesome and very generous. So exciting to hear. My last question, was there anything that I didn't ask that you were hoping I would talk about, or on this call? Anything that we missed? Anything that you're thinking, oh, this I wanted to make sure to mention this, or did we cover everything?
Yeah, Kyle, one thing I'll say is, coming, if you're the process of coming out or not quite out yet, and you're from a small town in the Mountain West, it's scary. It really is. I'm from South Louisiana. I mean, I live in Missoula now for the past decade, but coming out in the South was also really scary. And we just want to assure that if you're not comfortable with anything, we'll make sure to protect you. We won't take pictures. We won't post your pictures anywhere. As far as nobody will ever know you're even in this program. So if you're nervous about something from your hometown or friends knowing that you're coming to this program, please don't worry. We will make sure to not have your picture or post anything. So it's a safe, protected space. And in any moment, if you feel this is not right for you, come talk to me. I'll be at the program, and then we can pull you out or do whatever we need to do to make sure you're in a safe space. And so just want to be really clear about that, especially if you're coming from a small town, Montana. I get it. We understand it. We've all been there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is really, I think Joe and I both have had really productive and happy, I would say mostly happy careers. And we both had long careers as out leaders, and out leaders from Montana. So and we communicate with folks at all different levels of government and business leadership, and we do so as out leaders in our fields. And so we just really want to we want to provide participants with a little bit of our experience, and also hopefully empower them to also just live more authentic lives and build authentic careers.
Great. Joe, any final words?
I would just say, if you have questions, please send them in, and we're also willing to jump on the phone with you if that's useful. We've talked to a couple of students by phone, and actually one just yesterday we spoke to, and they just signed up. So happy to talk it out, and hope to see you with us in April.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, and everybody out there watching. Go learn more and apply to Leading Out West. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this amazing podcast/webinar. Of course, if you have questions about Leading Out West, check out the show notes, check out the YouTube descriptions. We'll make sure to have all those links attached. and we look forward to hopefully welcoming you to this amazing event.